Ever feel like house hunting is its own special kind of obstacle course?
Oh, tell me about it.
Well, get this. The whole idea of owning your own place, it's a pretty recent development.
Yeah, for most of us regular people, it is. That's true. Owning land, I mean, it is fundamental, but for most of history, it wasn't about picking out granite countertops. It was
Right.
about power, plain and simple.
That's so true. And to really unpack that whole power dynamic, we're diving into Liat Portal's latest Substack piece.
Oh, yeah, I love her work.
She's great. She takes us way back, showing how land ownership went from being like a king's play thing to something we stress over on Zillow.
It's fascinating how she sets the stage. Before the 19th century, forget about a starter home. Owning any land meant you were practically royalty.
Yeah,
You're in the club.
totally. She literally says, once upon a time, land was property only kings and nobles could own.
Wow.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Most people were completely at the mercy of these elite landowners just for a place to live.
It makes you think about all the stuff that we deal with today.
Oh, totally.
The echoes of that power imbalance. Think about the wealth gap, the fight for affordable housing. These issues are directly connected to that historical legacy of who controlled the land.
That's wild how something from centuries ago still shapes our world. So how did we get from kings and queens calling all the shots to us?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. The Industrial Revolution wasn't just about fancy new machines. It completely upended the social order. Suddenly, you had this huge influx of people moving to cities for factory jobs, and they needed places to live.
They did.
So it created a whole new set of challenges and conflicts.
Yeah, and Liat even mentions the assassination of Tsar Alexander II in Russia.
Oh, wow.
Talk about high stakes.
Yeah.
What happened there?
So the Tsar's assassination, it was directly tied to land reform debates.
Wow.
Shows just how volatile this issue was.
Yeah.
People were demanding change, and for many, that meant access to land ownership.
So you've got all this unrest, people demanding change. On top of that, a mass exodus from rural areas to these booming industrial cities. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly, and this perfect storm of social and economic upheaval, that's where architects really enter the picture.
Okay.
Liat makes this fascinating point about how this period wasn't just about designing buildings, it was about shaping entire communities.
Almost from scratch.
Almost from scratch.
Wow. Architects as city planners, that's kind of a cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
So they weren't just worried about making buildings look fancy.
Not at all. Think about it. You have all these people crammed into these rapidly growing cities. Architects had to consider things like sanitation, access to light and air, even how to prevent the spread of diseases. It was a whole new ballgame.
Wow, that's a lot to think about.
It is.
It's amazing how much responsibility was on their shoulders. Like, they were literally shaping the environment where millions of people would live and work.
And their decisions had a lasting impact. Liat highlights the work of Jane Jacobs,
Oh, yeah.
who argued that a well-designed neighborhood could actually deter crime.
Interesting.
It's all about like clear sight lines, well-lit spaces, encouraging a sense of community ownership.
Oh, so like, if people feel like they're being watched or that their neighbors are looking out for them, there's less opportunity for shady stuff to go down.
Precisely. It's fascinating how these design principles, things we might not even consciously notice, can have a real impact on our behavior,
Wow.
our sense of safety.
It makes you wonder if some of those hastily built neighborhoods that Liat mentioned, you know, the ones she said, ended up failing.
Yeah,
Kind of missed the mark on that.
absolutely. Liat's anecdote about those neighborhoods, it's a cautionary tale. When you prioritize speed and cost over thoughtful design and community building, you risk creating spaces that don't work for the people who live there.
Totally. It's like building a house on a shaky foundation.
Right.
It might look okay at first, but it's not built to last.
Right.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. We started with kings and land grabs,
Right.
and now we're talking about architects shaping the very fabric of society.
It really highlights how interconnected everything is.
Yeah.
Liat's point is that a house is more than just walls and a roof, right?
Yeah.
It's the foundation for a well-functioning community.
Totally. And we've seen how historically getting that foundation right or wrong has had huge consequences.
Yeah.
But how do we make sure we're learning from those past mistakes?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. If we connect this back to the bigger picture, it's about recognizing that design isn't just about aesthetics.
Right.
It's about creating spaces that foster community, equity, and a sense of belonging.
And it's not just about like grand designs either, right? It's about those everyday details Liat talks about. well-lit streets, access to green spaces, even how easy it is to walk to the store.
Exactly. It's about creating environments where people feel safe, connected, and empowered to thrive. And that requires a conscious effort to design with those values in mind.
So it's not enough to just build more housing.
Right.
We have to build better housing, better neighborhoods, better cities.
Precisely. It's about understanding that where and how we live has a ripple effect
Totally.
on every aspect of our lives, from our health and well-being to our sense of community and belonging.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to how much thought and intention needs to go into creating spaces that truly work for everyone.
Absolutely, and the exciting thing is we have the knowledge and the tools to do it right. It's just a matter of making those conscious choices, learning from the past, and designing a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
So from feudal estates to modern cityscapes, it's clear that a home is so much more than just bricks and mortar. It's about building a foundation for a better future. Big thanks to Liat Portal for her insightful work on this topic. Be sure to check out her Substack for more fascinating deep dives into the world around us. And join us next time when we'll be exploring. Well, you'll have to tune in to find out. Until then, keep asking questions, stay curious, and keep diving deeper.